On the journey of my mind, I found a few gems left as treasure. And in my commitment to presence, I met these gems. Here they taught me a few things. Firstly, that the unknown is met at every moment of one's existence and is therefore not to be feared but rather embraced. Secondly, that the mind creates reality, and perhaps it is empowering to know that my reality is my experience of what my mind has created. They also taught me to relate to all as I relate to myself, with love. They told me that self-awareness is fertile ground for the seed of radical self-acceptance. And lastly, that I am a common miracle. Welcome to episode 11 of Meeting Myself, Mindful Healing.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and tuning in. If you're new, please look around your screen. I'm pretty sure there's a red subscribe button somewhere there. Tap on it, join us, and let's meet myself. On today's video, as you have seen on the thumbnail, we will be speaking about mindful healing. It's only recently, like maybe I'll say 3 years ago, that I've been getting into mindfulness, learning mindfulness, and it started small. It started with me just liking hikes, with short 5-minute meditations, and with time I've grown to an expanded experience of mindfulness. Like, I've grown to incorporate being mindful in how I exist, not just like putting out time for active, concentrated mindfulness, but rather like how I move, the things I say, the things I do. I'm actively mindful in my existence and in my participation. I feel like a lot of people exist on autopilot. I think I did for a very long time in my life. I existed on autopilot. And ever since I've become aware of my ability to be more actively mindful, I have worked on it with time. And like, I was writing about this in my journal yesterday, like about how I feel like my heart and my brain and my mouth, not even just my mouth, my way of being, are slowly becoming aligned. Like, I don't find myself anxious about things I'm going to say in the future, or things I'm about to say. And sometimes I look back to things I've just said, and I think to myself, I didn't really like actively have to cling on to my brain to say this. It's like the things that are in my mind and the things that are in my heart and the things I say are so effortlessly aligned because of mindfulness and practicing mindfulness so actively and like just passively, so I think it's important that I talk about it because it has been a life changer, and I am not even really like living in my dream, but I can fully see how being mindful and being mindful and knowing what's happening in my mind and being intentional about what goes into my mind, I can see how that is impacting my reality, slowly but surely. And so I guess like I found the need to talk about that, especially because in the past I didn't even know how much I actually thought, like, I identified with my mind for so much that I didn't realize that I am not my thoughts. I was attached to them, anxiously so. And now I'm just like really chilled, bro. Like, I'm just chilled. Like, the things that I say with my mouth, even when I don't, like, I'm not extra critical and trying to be hyper aware of what I'm saying. I'm always pretty satisfied with the things that come out of my mouth. I'm also in my reality. Like, it's not to say I have a perfect reality. My world isn't like, I have hiccups. I think everyone's life has challenges, but I'm very happy with my perception, like what my mind does with my reality, what it takes from it. Beautiful stuff. And it's like literally been a game changer, a life-changing experience. And so let's talk about so the first thing I have on here is obviously definitions. I have 3 definitions that I found that will be relevant for this conversation. The first one is mind. Mind, the element of a person that enables them to be aware of the world and their experiences, to think and to feel, the faculty of consciousness and thought. Yeah, so the mind is literally the part of us that that takes in our perspective. It's where your perspective is at. Your perspective is not in the eyes, it's in here. So your perspective is made up in your mind, and perspective is what allows you to see, like, properly. So when you are not mindful and you're not aware of your mind and you identify with your ego, your perspective is personal, you know, like it's personal. It's not just a tool you use to perceive. It's who you are. You identify with your ego. And I find that mindfulness taught me that my perception is not who I am, it's how I see, you know. And I think that's magical. And how you see, I'm saying how I see, but truly what I mean is how I sense. It's not just about what you sense with your eyes. It's also, your mind also makes out what you feel in your heart. If you're anxious, sad, unhappy, your mind is the one that makes that up, that perceives that allows that experience to be just what it is. When I, like, if I get, like, what do you call it, pricked by a thorn on my flesh, it's touching my flesh, but it's my mind that does the work of awareness of saying, hey, there's a problem, you know. And then I want to go like a bit more expandedly. We have our own personal minds, and then we have a collective mind as society, as a body of people. And that collective mind is what tells us about our experience, what we perceive, you know. I hope that makes sense, but I'll get into that much more later again. The second definition I have for today is mindful, conscious or aware of something. Through awareness of a thing, a moment, being, I am aware of all that is, because all that is lives through all of us, all of what is, you know. So being mindful is not necessarily like being aware of your thoughts. It's also just being aware of the fact that the leaves are changing in color to, like, this season, you know. That's you being aware of something. And that's being mindful, really. The last one that I have is mental health. Mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to their community. It is a basic human right. Mental health is literally having a flexible mind. Literally, it's having a regulated nervous system. Literally, it's being in a safe space and safe environment. Literally, it's being safe and happy to be authentic and express authentically. I think when you're mentally healthy, you embody authenticity, literally. How did I practice mindfulness? I think this will be helpful to anyone interested. I practice mindfulness even today. Okay, I don't go to therapy anymore, but I had therapy for maybe 1.5 years. I stopped at the end of last year. That was, I can't tell you how helpful that shit was. When I arrived at therapy, I had a very binary perspective on things. I thought things were either right or wrong, black or white, which I know they can be, but they aren't always now. Like right now, I think I told you guys I have a non-binary perspective on the world at all. Like I think I've actually done away entirely with like a binary perspective, which for me feels safe and comfortable. Like it feels like when things are either black or white, you live anxiously. Yeah, it feels relaxed. Like I don't feel anxious, I'm making sense. Then I also I practice mindfulness by journaling. So I write daily, like daily. I just anything about anything, anywhere. I incorporate gratitude into my journaling all the time, because it just feels like the most consistent way I can do it. If I'm gonna journal, I might as well talk also about the things that I'm grateful about. Become aware, because journaling makes you aware of your thoughts. So your thoughts are not just flowing around aimlessly in your head. You are bringing them down and you are seeing them. It helps. And then also meditation. When I started off like meditating, it was years ago. I started off with like 5 minutes. I think I was doing it twice a day. Now I'm doing like 15 minutes 3 times a day. And man, I can't meditation. It is an act of mindfulness and I support it. And then self-expression in a safe community. So I first expressed myself in an unsafe community, and it would reject my expression of myself. And that showed me the feelings that I didn't want to feel, which is the feelings of rejection, the feelings of not belonging and stuff like that. And then I learned to find things that would make me feel accepted, and like I belong. And that involved a safe community, people who viewed the world the same way as I do, who view themselves, who are working on how they view themselves because of how much the world has distorted our perception and perspective. And I found them to be a safe community, and I started to express myself more and more and more. This, like me sharing this, like these videos, me meeting myself and talking to myself, this has been, I can't tell you, the videos that I've posted on meeting myself have literally been manifestations of my experience going forward. Like literally all of them, with new definitions. My reality keeps changing into just what I want, and I can't like, honestly, I can't wait to tell you guys the details, but I can. Like, I don't even really want to. I just want to live the life that I'm creating, and I'm bringing you guys in on the creation part, in the sense that you guys are being aware of what's going on I'm telling you what's going on in my head. I hope people can relate, and what I'm doing to change what's going on in my head and my heart and my mind and my life, in order to experience a reality that I desire and I want, and I hope it's being impactful. Honestly, this is a form of self-expression, and I honestly do feel safe on this channel. Thank you. The next thing I do is read and ask questions. I read a lot. I read daily. Just like reading for me is really like, I don't even read like, it's like I read self-help books, and then sometimes I read books that have like, you know how people who read the Bible will like a verse and live by a verse. I can't do that. It's like, even when I read, like I'll find gems as I'm reading, but for me it's really like the act of reading itself is putting the information that I need inside of me. I don't have to do it like we did at school, like I have to write down exactly what's on the projector. I must now know. My mind is a very functional one. I can read and it will store what needs to be stored. And I'm nice to my mind and myself. So I read, I ask questions a lot. If you're my friend, you know I ask questions a lot. If you know me, you know I'm just like, why? I don't know what that is. Huh? That's me, like literally. And then the last thing is hiking and meeting myself. So yeah, I'm hiking, being in nature. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't tell you, like, it's like every time I do these and I sit in nature and I speak, after I feel so great. Yeah, I feel so good. And it's I wanna, like, I think like it's similar to how people who are into fitness feel. I think for me, the most thing that I need to take it to gym is this: using my brain to be to share authentically who I truly am. It feels fulfilling. It's like a proper work day. This is a calling. This is a vocation. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's how I practice mindfulness. You can practice mindfulness so easily. There's so many easy ways. And then to a point where you just exist mindfully. The next thing on today's agenda is why I needed to practice mindfulness. I have a few points that I've written. The first is, I was unsatisfied with the meaning of life that is generally accepted. Trading or transacting with one's internal state of being for an external state of being that is societally acceptable. So I guess like the meaning of life and just what it seemed to me at the time, because it really boiled down to participating in a capitalist oppressive system society, and that's what like the meaning of life was boiling down to. Like for me to live and experience life the way I wanted to and I prefer to, I had to participate in a system that I don't agree with, which is really still the case. So like I guess like the reason I needed to act mindfully, to be more mindful, is because I wanted to expand my awareness beyond the oppressive capitalist system that we live by. I wanted a deeper meaning to life that is not locked in the definitions of the oppressive system, which is basically for you to live life, you have to sell your energy, sell your labor, and get money or whatever form of energy in order to go and spend on things that will give you the state of being that you desire. Like for me, that's literally slavery. Like for you to say I need to work to live, do you know, like moving from one place to another is part of living. Having access to spaces is part of life. So you want to tell me for that I have to give away parts of myself? Like that used to make me like uncomfortable until I found parts of myself that I wanted to share, that I didn't feel like I have to share. So mindfulness like allowed me to be aware of more than just what I had to share in order to, which is probably like what in the like the perspective of capitalism. I have to give labor in the form of maybe like a 9 to 5 job in a law firm, or a 9 to 5 job in a bank or something. But then, and then like I looked at that reality and thought to myself, I really don't have that energy to give. Actually, if I do, I don't want to give that energy, you know. And mindfulness allowed me to be more aware of the energy that I do want to give. And this is it. I do want to give the energy, this energy that I'm giving out energy right now in this conversation. I'm using my energy, I'm using my resources, I'm using the resource that I am, to get, is it to get something? Yes, but it's not. The thing that I'm getting out of this conversation is not in the hands of a system. It's an experience that is living inside of me. I feel satisfied, I feel content, I feel impactful, you know, when I do this. And like, for me, capitalism as a system distorted the art of energy exchange, you know, like, or yeah, the art of energy exchange, like the bringing my energy into something in order to get another form of energy out of it, an energy that I want. So it's like I'm giving an energy that I do want to give, and I am getting an energy that I do want to have, you know. And it's not necessarily by the system's rules. And it's only through mindfulness that I've learned that I can play by the rules, but not in that game, you know. I don't have to believe in capitalism. I can believe in my energy, my worth, my abilities and capabilities, and my value. Just like my destiny, I can believe in what I'm destined here to do. You know, I don't have to believe in capitalism. And it's only through mindfulness that I could expand beyond the limitations of the perspective of capitalism, you know? Another reason is that so that I could find appreciation for life. Honestly, I feel like if my life structure was like traditional, in the sense that I had a Monday to Friday 9 to 5, I know like maybe like I'd have like a stable income that could probably satisfy my needs, which I currently don't. But okay, I think about it now and I'm like, I don't think I would appreciate that life. Yeah, actually, I wanted to change my mind, but like, yeah, I don't think I would appreciate the life of settling for a system that is literally wired against me. I don't think I don't think I would, and I don't want to, you know. Whereas now, with the perspective that I have in terms of how I transact and interact with the world, using my energy, I appreciate life. Like, I appreciate that I have the ability to think. I appreciate that I have the ability to speak. I appreciate that there are people who want to hear things. I appreciate that there are people who want to learn things. I appreciate that I am learning things about myself, you know? And like, I feel like all of these things, like my ability to hear, my ability to speak, my ability to think, you know, all of those things are part of the life experience. And this like, I'm learning to appreciate literally like the minute the things that are literally built in all of us as human beings for this experience of life. I am learning to enjoy them. I'm learning to appreciate them so deeply due to mindfulness, because it's not everybody who can speak. It's not everybody who's as intelligent as I am. It's not everybody who is confident in front of the camera like I am. It's not everybody who will be able to comprehend what I'm saying. It's not everybody, you know, like, it's not everybody who has two hands, you know. yeah, the experience of how I've chosen to perceive life, and you choose to perceive life when you become mindful. If you're not mindful, you're not choosing your perception of life. Your mind is, and you are absent in your mind to take over the control. Okay, another reason is to feel safe. I really like, like even like describing the system of capitalism, realizing that I live in a patriarchal society, a racist society, and then also growing up in an abusive home, borderline abusive home. The state, the feeling safe is not something I'm used to. Like I'm coming into the feeling of safety right now in my life, and I won't credit mindfulness holistically for it, but it's definitely been one of the things that has allowed me to be aware that, hey man, there is a state of safety that I should have access to within myself, and I don't. I haven't had access to it for so long, you know I needed to feel safe, and I'm starting to feel safe. And mindfulness really has been probably a core tool, one of the primary ingredients in turning in taking me to the state of safety. Another reason why I needed to practice mindfulness is that I needed to stop surviving and start living. So societal system, how it trickles down into our homes if we don't question and do away with the belief systems it imposes, is that it puts us in survival mode. Survival mode is existing from a place of fear. So you think about religion and how much it centers fear. You think about patriarchy. Patriarchy means that gives us a system where men are above us, above women, and how do you control people? People who are being controlled are merely surviving. They are not living at all. And I think about like the fact that my home, like truly, like at core, my parents believed in corporal punishment. So I grew up like being hit all the damn time for whatever reasons, and that, like, I don't think, oh, okay, I wanted to say this thing of like identifying with your mind, being attached, not being mindful, and being attached to your mind, being your mind, and not being aware of the fact that your mind is only but a tool. That is living in survival mode. Like identifying with your ego and existing as your ego is literally living from survival, because your ego is made up of like protective mechanisms, like defensive mechanisms. That's what it's made up of. And of course it's made up of that. You're living in a fucking oppressive society, you're living in a fucking abusive home or whatever, so of course your ego will be made up of protective mechanisms. And doing that, like being in a defense mode and protect mode, that's survival. That's you being in survival mode. And I don't know, man. Like, personally, I don't even want to lie to you guys. I've been an anxious human for so fucking long. Thank God that I'm smart and I could rely on the things that I believed and know about the world. Thank God. Thank God. But yeah, I was like consistently in an anxious state, survival mode for sure. So I needed to start living like I deserve to be here. Like it's not a mistake that I'm here. Maybe it's a mistake to the human beings that decided to bring me here, but I'm not them, and my path in life is not limited but by what they perceived as they were conceiving me. Even what they perceive now, who I am, my being, is not limited by those perceptions, and it's not even limited by the perceptions of the people who created capitalism. Ta-da. Exactly. So I just really wanted to live, bro. I was tired of being in survival mode. I needed to get out of survival mode. Ugh. Ugh. And then the last thing is I just wanted to enjoy my life experience, bro. Like, I practiced mindfulness, the need is so that I could just enjoy life. Trust me, if you just want to enjoy, like, if you're not enjoying life and life is tough, start being mindful. There's so much that you are not aware of. Like, if life sucks, trust me, there's a lot of things that you're not aware of. You're aware of the sucky of life. Mindfulness will show you other things that will show that mean that can help you find meaning in life, not a negative one, you know. Yeah, I hope I'm making sense. Okay, the next thing on our agenda today is, what did I become aware of? What did I become mindful of? So I became aware and mindful of social constructs and structures. So basically the collective mind, the mind of society at large. That's what I became aware of. Society at large works according to a capitalist system that believes in a certain way of trading one's energy. It also believes in hierarchy of sexes, hierarchy of races, hierarchy of class. That's the society. That's literally how it works. Hierarchy of age, hierarchy of ability, being able. So disabled people are barely considered in how the society is structured. Women are put below men in how the society is structured. Poor people barely have any of their, that's the experience of being poor, no needs being met, whereas rich people, needs and beyond met. White people's life experience in this society is much easier than the life experience of black people because of capitalism and white supremacy. So I became aware of those things. I became aware of my sexuality and how the society literally centers heteronormativity. I became aware of how there isn't just two sexes in the world. The society is just designed to work like that, like centered to have a binary perspective on sex, and that's how this society is structured. So I became aware of all those structures, like the things that make the world go, you know. Yeah. And then I became aware of my life experiences, me personally, the abuse, neglect, physical harm, and rejection that I experienced in my immediate family, and how those are literally symptoms of these structures that I just named for you. Like, for me, for me, like, you can't accept capitalism, patriarchy, and religion, and like heteronormativity, and expect that your life is going to be a healthy, joyful one. I mean, depending on your idea of health and joyful, I just feel like people who live under those systems and abide by those systems, their perspective of joy is limited. Personally, I wouldn't be content with that joy. It would be just too little for me. Actually, it would just feel like being in jail. So cut. So I looked at my relationships. I looked at my dad walking out. I look like, not well, my mom divorced him, but not having a dad around. That is the reality for so many black children in this society. Why? Patriarchy, my babes. Being raised by a single mom. Why? Patriarchy, my babes. A mom that's so focused on her work that she doesn't have the energy to spend on you. That is why I don't want capitalism, guys. That is literally why I don't want capitalism. But so I started to learn that. I looked back at my education, and I looked at my experience in it, like how teachers were treating me, how I received the contents of education, how I changed myself because of the experience, like how I started masking. Like I just started to be aware of my life experience, and I want to do this exercise. I'm gonna do it soon. Basically, I'm turning 27 this year, so I'm gonna like basically have each year in a list and each month in a list, and try to remember things that were happening throughout my life for 27 years and 12 months of that 27 years, and just really be aware, because I am a product of that, of all of that whole experience. I'm just not mindful of the experience to see how it has produced this, you know. And so as an exercise of mindfulness, I'm gonna do that. But I have done it on a very high level. Like I have been reflecting on a lot of my memories, bad ones, good ones, and yeah, just like really seeing the ingredients that came into the product that I am, you know. Then I became aware of information about mental health. I didn't know much about mental health, honestly. I still don't think I know much, and I think mainly because even with the information that is out officially in the world right now about mental health, women are not studied. Like the information we have right now centers the experience of white boys, white males. It doesn't trickle down to the experiences of different people who are experiencing this society differently. So I don't even have like enough information in terms of that, but like I became aware, I'm learning, and I'm so grateful because it has allowed me to learn to accommodate myself and to accept myself, and like we're human beings, we're not writing machines, we're not spelling machines, we're like literally. And to think like the amount of shame I used to feel in high school when I started to struggle with spelling words, shame to a point where you just hide, you stop engaging. When it's time for dictation, you just do what you can, you get mocked, you put away your papers, and you're ashamed of yourself. I really truly struggle with punctuation, like punctuation marks. I'm so fucking bad at it, and I like now, like I'm bad at it. And when I figured out I was bad at it, I realized it's because I had floated out of class when we were being taught that as kids, and that's telling me about the mind that I've had the whole time. Like I've had concentration issues for long, because when do they teach us to punctuate? When we're young, and I don't have a grasp on that. And I've decided that I'll just like go revisit the information and learn. I don't think I'll struggle if I do. I think I struggled because I wasn't focusing when it was taught, and then I felt ashamed that I didn't know it, you know. So you learning about mental health had me learning about mental disorders, and like things like ADHD, anxiety, depression, like the autism, like the list goes on. And I would really encourage people to practice mindfulness and awareness of themselves, because so many people are struggling with learning disorders, so many people, and they do, like, because personally I come from a government school. I went to a basic primary government school and high school. No one could identify ADHD in my school. I can tell you now, none of my teachers in primary school could identify ADHD. Like I remember being in class with kids who were really struggling, like really struggling, and they were shamed as stupid people, stupid kids. That's all. And learning about mental health and like different people have dyslexia, like guys, there's so much going on. There's so much going on, and to be thrown into an education system that is as simple and as unaware as the one I've been through of it, that is not nice. Like that's why I just hate the system. Like it really, because it hates me and it hates human beings. It tries to turn us into products instead of allow us to be human. stuff. So yeah, I learned about mental health. I became aware of that, how my brain works, that I'm neurodivergent, that I realized also that I was complexly traumatized. I have CPTSD, and the symptoms of CPTSD show similarly as how autism shows. And like, I'm still figuring that out. And in figuring that out, I'm being so kind and patient with myself. If I had not become aware of any of these things, I would just be ashamed and judgmental towards myself, because I wouldn't be aware. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have perspective. So when you lack information in here, you lack perspective. When you lack awareness, you lack perspective. And personally, I'm very grateful. Like, every time I write the things I'm grateful for, I thank all life for the ability to perceive, to expand my perspective. Beautiful. Because it literally is like, the moment you tweak how you perceive something, you add information in your head or whatever, you realize how things are not as complicated as you think. Or you don't even have to figure some things out at all, because they are so complicated that they were never meant to be figured out. I can't tell you guys how freeing it is to be mindful and work on your perspective, because being mindful gives you a stellar perspective in life. It gives you a stellar perspective. Then I became aware of my dreams, reality, and my desires. So then I started to see how the things I believed were somehow like depicting the reality that I was living, and even the reality that I didn't want. I realized, oh, okay, I believe certain things, like, that's why I've been in this for so long. Or I started to be aware that, like, I want more. Like, I want more than now. I want so many experiences. I want to live in so many experiences. I want to hike the mountains of Qwaqwa. That is a dream of mine. I want to hike the mountains of Lesotho. That is a dream of mine. I want to travel Africa solo. That is a dream of mine. I want to impact society. That is a dream of mine that I've been living unaware for so long. I've been living in my dream. I want to work socially and impact society in a positive way. I've been doing that for as early as I can remember, because that's always been my core. But I lost sight. I became less aware of it. I didn't mind it, because it didn't fit into the perspective of the world that I was being taught. I was taught that I impact the world through a job. But literally, I impact the world by saying to my cousin, don't drop that paper. Pick it up. I literally impact the world by hugging my niece. I literally impact the world by saying to a grown-up, no, you are wrong. That is impactful. And I started to see that, you are impacting society. You are living your dream. And therefore you can live so many other dreams, and you can have so many other dreams. Dreams are yours to have and live. Then I became aware of my desires. I think because I became aware of, like, feelings and how I was, because mindfulness allows you to be aware of, hey man, I'm anxious, because I became aware of the states of being I was in, like my different emotions and my different feelings. I started to also be aware of my desires and things that I want in life. Also, when you find meaning in life, you start to want things out of life to create that meaning and give it deep, like make it deep. So mindfulness allowed me to appreciate life, and for continuous appreciation of life, I believe that continuous desires have to be met. And so I became aware of what I desire.
In conclusion, I would like to tell you how mindfulness impacted my healing. Mindfulness increased my awareness of my body, thereby giving me access to feelings that I had long been estranged from. By observing my thoughts, mindfulness allowed me to expand my perspective. It is mindfulness that grants a creation the awareness of its innate ability to create. I am a creative. Mindfulness showed me the reality of dysregulation. It assured me as I sat tightly on the edge of my seat. It assures me still as I sit back safely on this journey of regulating my nervous system. Mindfulness showed me that relationships thrive on the opportunity to create deep meaning in the seasonal experience of time.